This week my friend Morgan texted me and asked me if I'm happy. And to answer that question, I found myself digging through my memory looking for small images and moments in my life. I'm determining my happiness based on the books that I've read, the movies that I've watched, the media I've been consuming. Everything is a vessel, a tool for me to find out how I've been living and who I'm becoming. So much of my life is just me cataloging. I am obsessed with cataloging my life. I have all of these random apps. I have a Goodreads and Be Real and Strava and Letterboxd. I have so many apps that catalog the mundane things in my life because in my mind they make up who I am as a person. If you were going to take all these different catalog lists of the things that I've seen, watched, read, consumed in any way, it would be a step-by-step recipe on how to make who I am today. And this isn't a new concept. I mean, we've had social media for years and years now. Everything on my social media is a collage of who exactly I want you to see, or the persona that I'm curating. And I mean, we do this in real life too. Everyone is just made up of their different interests and hobbies, and it's not a new concept to say that people catalog their lives in order to identify themselves in the world. But I've become obsessive in realizing that these things go away and are all temporary. I'm obsessed with trying to keep track of everything that I consume as a means to figuring out and keeping track of who I am. So here's me doing that, condensing my last few months into a single video diary to determine who I am and who I'm becoming, what interests me, what compels me, what has put me in this world, what am I consuming, what am I drawn to. My fiction writing professor said recently, books will find you exactly when you need them. You will be intuitively drawn to different books that you need to read. And as a person that's been stressed out about how many books there are in the world that I have yet to read or that I may never read, but I would love if I were to find it, this was a crazy concept. It made me think of the Chef Boyardee ads where the can is chasing the person all the way home. I'd like to say that I don't necessarily believe in that concept, but I think that I do because I am so inexplicably drawn to different songs and movies and films and different kinds of art in each day of my life. Every day when I'm picking out a song, I have curated playlists for different moods or different periods of my life. Here I am cataloging once again, drawn to art, and it brings out a side of me that's intuitive or innate, just a side of me that I don't constantly recognize, but I am unconsciously drawn to. And that's the beautiful thing about art. Creating art and consuming art. It's what compels you, what moves you, what draws you. I feel that way about writing as well. In my advanced songwriting class right now, we have to do object writing prompts every morning, and no matter the object, lately it's been things like orange Fanta and soap. I have found myself writing about my dad a lot, and it just shows that he's been on my mind recently. Or my songs are so exclusively about my life that I often find out how I'm feeling by what songs I am writing. And I often feel like a vessel for my own heart and mind whenever I'm creating art, and it can be the same way experiencing art. So what has been compelling me and creating me recently? Let's go down the list. My top songs of this month have been very pop heavy. On the way home from a studio trip that I took with my friend Seth and Will, we played a lot of Muna in the car, which I haven't really listened to Muna very much. Listening to them makes me feel like I'm aggressively taking care of myself. I love the lyrics in Pink Light. Even the opening line is just so good. So I Let It Happen Again. I love someone who's indifferent. The whole song is just one long continuous image. You would think that a good indicator of happiness would be all the pop music in my top songs of the month, but often I find myself listening to pretty aggressive pop music as a way to bring myself out of a slump. Listening wise too, my music taste has started to expand a little bit thanks to new friends. Although we do have the old classics, we have lots of Taylor Swift. I'm experiencing that thing again where a Taylor Swift song will click into place, into a new meaning in my life, be associated with a new person, and be inextricably tied to them for the rest of my life. To listen to a song that you've heard since you were a kid suddenly take on significance in a new way where the words finally make sense and everything that she says feels like it was written specifically for you. And that was Everything Has Changed this month. The only book that I really have extended thoughts on that I finished in the last few weeks was this book, First Love by Gwendolyn Riley. This book is full of so many powerful but tiny images. There's so much texture to the way that she writes. She describes isolation and depression and love and abuse in a really unique way. My favorite thing was just reading all the descriptions of her characters walking around and going about their daily lives, and I think it led me to appreciate my own life a lot. I would be reading this and then I would stop and it would remind me of small images in my life, and I would stop to journal on the side before returning to the book. Little things like this. I fell asleep with the curtains open after an evening of doing sit-ups, drinking water, and then soaking in the deep old bath. When I woke up, the sun was paneling the walls, the bed. I opened the window as far as I could and I set the bath running again, and I filled up the kettle. The light felt forgiving. Here's something that I wrote after reading a chapter from this book. Every night I come home smelling like espresso and feeling tethered and belonging to a place more and more. Time is spent spontaneously and the world feels full of potential that is feasible. I have a primary care physician and doctor's appointments set up and health insurance and a pharmacy to pick up white pills to stabilize my mind 5 minutes from my house. I sit in classrooms and absorb words like they're water. I sit on the balconies of people's apartments and feel lucky and new. I saw a quote online that said, "I think love is finding people to be in the kitchen with." And it's images like that that grab me and remind me of my own life and make me search for more things to be grateful for in my own life. I've started noticing more and more of these images. I have my writer brain on. I'm observing and noticing more things about my life, eavesdropping into my own world, finding sentiments and things to be grateful for and find hope in. Here are a few of them. I think love is having someone walk you to your car, having someone invite you over for dinner spontaneously, the dishwasher humming quietly in the background full of dishes that my roommate washed for me, cleaning my sheets for myself every week, buying myself flowers, cooking for myself, eating yogurt, buying produce at the grocery store, small things that make up a life. So when Morgan texts me and asks me if I'm happy, I respond with something vague and nondescript, like, I think I'm as happy as I can be for a depressed person. But really, what I mean is, I'm doing better, I made it to September, I can finally breathe.